bonjour or bienvenue on the workbench. Welcome back to On the Workbench. Today, reason for the French here, we're taking a look at some Facom ratchets that are made in France. A little different, a little exotic, I know. You're not going to find these in the US unless you import them. There's a specific retailer in France I can think of that I've been to that does sell these. And so you can pick these up in Europe, and these is a slightly older generation of these ratchets. Facom has come along and has upgraded the handles. So first question, who is Facom? They are the automotive brand for Europe by Stanley Black & Decker. Basically, it's the European version of Mac Tools. And so I picked these up about 4 years ago from France. There's a store there known as, pardon my French, it's not very good, Le Roi Merlin. Or if you look at just the horrible English pronunciation, it would be Leroy Merlin. And so these are the 161 series ratchets. These are the round head version. These are 72 teeth, which I think is more than ample. And these come with this nice grip. It's a rubber grip. It doesn't soak up oil. Still has a little bit of texture on it here, which is what I really like, and the reason why I bought them, because it's not quite as slippery as some soft grips are, but it's still a nice soft grip. Or I guess I shouldn't really call it a soft grip, but it's better than holding on to the metal. And these are strong. So a couple other things here related to these ratchets. These are all round head ratchets, and this is the same mechanism that you can get in the round head Mac ratchets. So if I ever have an issue with needing to service the mechanism on these, all I have to do is get in touch with a Mac dealer or Mac Tools and just order either a 1/4, 3/8, or 1/2 inch drive. And so in Europe, they use the same sort of drive head size as we do in the States. So no big deal. These drive head sizes are oddly enough still 1/4, 3/8, and 1/2, even though you're not really going to find a lot of standard sockets over there because, hey, they're all in the metric system. So starting here with the 1/4 inch ratchet, let's start there. This is, you can see on top here, it says France, country of origin. Flip it over. This is R161. And if we look at measuring this up here, I'm going to measure this in English. So we've got, to the center of the grip here, about 3.5 inches. And so this one here fits really nicely in the palm of my hand. And I really like this. It's just a really easy, small, compact ratchet I can get into. It's very easy to work. It fits in the palm of my hand. And this is a little bit easier than some of those little palm ratchets that you can get that are circular. That I can still hide this in the palm of my hand to kind of fidget up, working under a dash, and get whatever I need done. Works very well. I've never had any problems with the strength of these ratchets. They haven't failed me at all. I'm very pleased. So that's the 1/4 inch. The 3/8, obviously a little bit larger. And so if we measure this up from the anvil to approximately the center of the grip, we're looking at about 5.5 inches. And let's do the same thing for the 1/2 inch variant. The 1/2 inch variant here comes in at about 8 inches to the center of the grip. The 1/2 inch one here is just a little bit different. This is 161, or I'm sorry, S161 for the 1/2 inch, J161 for the 3/8, and R161 for the 1/4 inch. The newer versions of these, I believe, have a B suffix at the end to denote the newer variant of these ratchets. A couple things here, if you look at this, I think my 1/4 inch is showing this here. These mechanisms are prone to a little bit of surface rust. I'm not terribly worried about that. The lubrication that came with these has been great. I haven't had to tear these apart to re-lubricate them. The mechanism has held up well. The one, you want to call it a complaint, if you will, is I feel like these are just slightly undersized lengthwise compared to other ratchets and for what I would prefer. However, sometimes that's also the reason why I go to and choose these ratchets, is because they're just slightly undersized. And so if we want to look at grip, let's look at, well, I guess we'll look at the 1/2 inch one here. And so I've got a snap-on comfort grip here. This is on a 3/8 rotor head ratchet, but this is the long handle one. So it's basically kind of like a 1/2 inch drive here. And so like the snap-on comfort grip, which is nice, it's got the nice kind of flat back on it. But this does kind of absorb stuff and just kind of picks up the grease. Whereas this, I can feel the oil kind of here on top from the last time I used this. But it doesn't soak it up, it doesn't absorb it, it doesn't deface it. And I still got this extra texture here for my fingers to kind of grab onto and not slip off. Of course, that means you get some grime and grease that'll get down into the crevices of the grip, but you could always clean that up with a Q-tip if you needed to. So for size reference, let's compare this. We used a 1/2 inch here. In terms of, you talk about length, I'm just going to use a Craftsman 1/2 inch ratchet. I think everyone pretty much understands what these look like and are, so there's no funny business here with it. So you just compare it to the 1/2 inch Craftsman. You can see just from the very base of the handle, it's about 1/4 inch shorter. You know, from where I tend to hold this here with a grip, you know, I'm not going to hold this at the end because there is a little bit of a bulge here out, and all the ratchets are kind of the same way like that. Whereas the Craftsman here at the end, I can kind of cheat and hold it down farther if I wanted to. Obviously, I could stick a pipe on the end of this one here. This has fewer teeth, but that's not really the point of this comparison. If we switch from to the 3/8, another point of comparison here, this is the SK LP90. I've got a video about this. And we look at it and we can see noticeably how much difference there is in the length of this ratchet between the SK ratchet and the Facom. But again, I tend to use these, and sometimes I choose them because they are just slightly smaller and undersized by comparison. Now, because it's a round head ratchet, it is going to be maybe just slightly thicker than some of these low profile ratchets. So here's the SK. And you can see, just looking at these side by side, by the time you account for that selector switch here, down to the anvil, it's definitely thicker. So just for some size comparisons, this SK checks in at a 1/2 inch thick. And on the Facom, we're looking at about just slightly more than 3/4 of an inch. So this head's about a 1/4 inch thicker, but it's obviously reduced in length this way, and depending upon the circumstance you're in, that may be to your advantage. You know, that's why it's good to have round head ratchets and so-called pair head ratchets. You just, you know, you need to have the right tool for the right situation, and you don't always know going into a project, you know, what that situation is going to exactly look like. So having a good complement of tools is healthy. And we look at the 1/4 inch. You know, I probably use this one the most of the set of all of them just because it's just so, I don't know, it's kind of light and cute. I kind of have kidded with my daughter that this looks like it could possibly go with a couple for dolls or other play toys, but Daddy keeps it in the garage because, well, it's my tool. Although my kids, I would have no problem letting my kids play with it. And the mechanism, if we just listen to the mechanism, no problem with that. You just rotate the knob on top. There are some of the literature that describes these as so-called palm control, that the little metal piece on top here could stay in place if you needed to put some extra weight on it. So for example, on the 3/8, if you want to put your thumb on the back of the ratchet, you see how my thumb is holding the silver plate with the selector arrows on it in place. So if I need to add just an extra bit of backward force, I could do that without the back of the ratchet rubbing against my finger because this little disc here will rotate in place around it. So possibly useful. I don't know that that's a huge selling point for me, but it's something they do kind of market as part of their shtick. So if you happen to end up in the market for a set of ratchets and you're looking for something a little bit different for your toolbox, these Facoms are a pretty good option, although the ability to obtain them in the US certainly limited. I suspect you might be able to find them on eBay or Amazon.fr. And I would also probably suspect that your Mac guy might look at you a little crazy if you try to warranty these through Mac, because these are not officially imported to the US per se, so these would be gray market products. You know, if I try to hand them off here, because Facom is not generally sold in the United States. But with that, you know, I've really liked these. They're kind of a niche in the toolbox, but they work well. You know, and I've used them inside. I've kept these inside the house for a while. Use them outside in the garage. Use them all sorts of places. They're durable. They last. They're strong. And the teeth don't slip. You know, that's all I can ask for in a ratchet. I mean, is it perfect? Well, I don't think there is such a thing as a perfect ratchet. If you know of the perfect ratchet, put in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think the perfect ratchet is. But this is just something interesting. It's a little bit of a niche option, but something worth checking out. And if you happen to be in France, you could go to Leroy Merlin and pick up a set there. The total cost for these, you're looking for a set of 3. If I bought them individually, I want to say after exchange rate, I probably paid about $270, $275, give or take, based on exchange rates for this set of 3. Although I had to buy them separately. There's some other little kits you can pick up with sockets that go with them. But if I can find some links to put below to these, I will. And if you found this interesting and useful, give it a thumbs up. Look forward to seeing you back here for another video. And have a great day. Bye.